Hey everybody, Truth Dog here, internet's favorite dog, back at it with another crazy video. Today I'm going to be talking about YouTube's dislike policy. They're removing dislikes apparently, even though I'm not sure if you can see this, but for some reason they still remain on my screen. You probably can't see it because just the phone image is very, very blurry. My fix to this previously was to kind of tap the phone on a hard surface, which would sometimes get it to focus, but I kind of tapped it a little too hard. Now the screen's cracked, and so if I tap it, it's just going to completely break. So I don't know what to do about that. I guess I could enlist some kind of screen capturing technology, but that would require me to learn a new skill, which, oh man, I just can't be bothered to do anything like that. I hate technology so much. Anyway, so yeah. So yeah, YouTube removing dislike policy, dislikes on videos. Just gonna play this video by a guy I'm subscribed to. It's a gaming channel, Carrick. I think his name is ACG. You have to take my word for all this because you can't read it or see it at all. He's talking about all this stuff that I mentioned.
Dislikes from videos, all of them, even though you could already do that originally and crouched it within the old, hey, we're trying to help everybody kind of decision making.
I just want to point out this thing that see. This is an official YouTube video that they uploaded. They got, you would call it dislike bombed, I suppose, but in reality, it's just that's just honest opinion. You know, it's terrible. They do this yearly. What the hell does it say? I have to read the actual screen, not the screen I'm looking at. Yeah, the YouTube rewind crap that they do, where they get a bunch of shill content creators, you know, fucking Freemason Illuminati dickheads with no personality, but they're the ones who are promoted, doing a whole celebration of the platform. Fucking bullshit, anyway.
The old, hey, we're trying to help everybody kind of decision making. Sit on back. We're going to talk about the patterns that YouTube is.
Hey, we're trying to help everybody decision making. What does that sound like? I don't know. It doesn't sound like anything that the government has been forcing on us in the last year or two, does it? We love you. We love you. We're trying to help. Says the government? Okay.
Had continually when it comes to
goes for YouTube too, because
larger companies and what they do for them versus the main creator that is actually creating content for their channel. They remove the
same thing as what I just mentioned, keeping down the little guy. My dad keeps bringing this thing up. He's actually against, you know, the current thing that's going on in the news, you know, that thing that you can't avoid hearing about all the time, but I'm not allowed to fucking mention. Wow. He's always talking about how he's like, oh, if the government, these people in the government, they clearly haven't worked a day in their lives. They clearly never had a real job, because if they had a real job, they would realize that they're actually crippling these small businesses with all the, you know, laws and mandates they're forcing on these people. And it's like, dude, they know what they're fucking doing. You don't need to work in a small business to understand that it's hard to work in a small business. My dad was an accountant and he has this fucking viewpoint. They're clearly trying to fucking cripple and shut down all competition to the government. They want nothing but all government businesses to be run so they get all the fucking money, obviously. I mean, it's not just like they just happen to be friggin' bankrupting small businesses with all the new laws and whatevers, you know. And of course they fucking know what they're doing. They want to be the only ones who you can turn to. That's why they're destroying all the small businesses. Add to that all the freaking loosh they get from the pain and suffering they cause by doing it. But you know, that's the main thing that these people get. That's the main thing that you never hear anyone talk about. There's like, oh, everything is about money. Everything's about money. It's not really. It's about loosh. It's about fucking causing pain and suffering, because they. That's what gives them energy. That's their sustenance. They couldn't make any fucking money if they weren't given the life force of our pain and suffering. They wouldn't be able to get out of bed to do their CEO jobs if the world wasn't friggin' being crushed by depression. Anyway.
Dislikes. Why does that matter? Why are the last patterns actually cause discord amongst the people creating videos? Let's do it. I'm going to talk about random crap. You're going to watch a random video while I do it. Now, YouTube has a history of choices and lack of choices, but very little creator upside. Almost none of it on the creator upside, and most of it on the big business and YouTube side. It's best to note that YouTube is not there for the...
So I'm just running this because he'll say stuff that I don't have the intelligence to say, but I'll also be able to say stuff that he might not consider. I'll just go down to a comment I made. Actually, we'll keep it playing.
Little guys, we start this. As evidence, we need
I said, I'm kind of proud of this one. Freedom of, I'll have to read, freedom of choice to illusion of choice to no choice at all. Sounds like some New World Order stuff. I somehow got one dislike, one like on that.
YouTube.
Hey, are they going to remove dislikes on comments? They already did. It doesn't even show dislikes on comments. It only shows the amount of likes. So this was already kind of in the pipeline to begin with.
And bringing in customers to other videos is the bread and butter of YouTube. They want to continue that. There's nothing but financial gain in that situation. You may be thinking, Carrick's going after his own platform. What the hell? First, this isn't my platform. They can do what they want. But if my favorite car had a habit of spontaneously ejecting passengers, then playing a recording indicating it was for their own good, while simultaneously getting a cut of insured premiums, you can bet I'd be here making a video. Bringing content in for only the cost of the overhead and the storage, but with effective filtering, being able to leverage that into watching larger PR-based ad buys.
Anyway, I know that I can come off as pretentious and trying to sound smart, but that's all this guy really does. This is boring as hell.
Channel is effective filtering. And as a company, I pretty much expect that. This is a business. I don't blame them if they're not there to save babies from floods. Think of it this way. Sometimes you invite a popular...
Yeah, they're not there to save babies from floods. They're there to drink the freaking blood of babies.
Jackass to your party to get more people to come. In this case, YouTube is a jackass having a party, so they invite some regular folk to, keep it real.
See, that's the thing. That's something else. While I'm doing this, I'm just thinking about something else. What I just said about, he said, some kind of cliche about, they're not here to, save the world, that kind of thing. It's like, and I said the actual truth. Yeah, they drink the blood of babies. They don't want to save babies. They might save it to fucking eat it, but you know what I mean. That kind of comment. I'm injecting humor and I'm telling the truth, but I'm also being very obscure and almost cryptic about what I'm saying. And that kind of thing basically doesn't exist. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I was to say that in a big group, can you imagine how uncomfortable it would be? That nobody has that perspective. The only people who have the perspective of what actually happens behind the scenes, in terms of the really dark shit, evil shit that happens, is the people who do it. And then they have a vested interest in never talking about it. So the only people who know about it are the people who want to really read between the lines and find out exactly what makes this world as shitty as it does. And those people like that are very, very rare. And so when you make comments like that are actually 100% truthful, no one understands it. I'm just talking about how rare it would be. Like, can you imagine anyone ever saying that? And then, okay, so how rare would it be? It's basically like it would never happen. So how rare are real people, And at this point in time, is it only real people who would have that perspective, that these people are blood-drinking Satanists who are literally just out to destroy our lives for their own energetic gains? Like, is that just something that only, or how many people know that? And then how, if someone knows that and they're not partaking in it, how rare is that? And if someone knows that and is not partaking in it and can then turn that into a humorous comment, how fucking rare is that? It really makes you wonder, how many real people are truly out there, and what makes it real. Can you program the NPCs to be like us? Yes, you can. Can you program the NPCs to act like that? I don't think so, because that's way too disruptive. So what am I saying? Nothing. But neither is this guy. So let's just keep going.
Or, and this is even worse, look up what unpaid apprenticeship means. So we know in the past they've already made it harder, and we'll circle back to that.
What do you fucking mean, look up what unpaid apprenticeship means? Fuck it, tell me, asshole. You want me watching your video, or you want me clicking off to some other platform? Fucking hell.
But the way
that's another thing. Now that I'm recording, I didn't think I'd have anything to say other than YouTube's removing dislike. It's censorship. It benefits the government. It benefits corporations. Shills. People won't be able to make an informed opinion by realizing, oh wait, this guy might be full of shit. This news outlet might be full of shit. It's a lot harder to see that, especially considering that the news outlets already remove all comments. They make it so that you can't make a comment, and also. Yeah, so now that's like, oh, okay, I guess this is true. No one disagrees with it. I thought that's all I'd have to say, but apparently I'm giving a lot of stimulus here to say a lot of other things, so that's good, I suppose. I wanted to make this a short video.
treat the creators and the small amount of information they give and crouching it within the fake we're here to help the small creator situation is a pattern that YouTube has had for a long time. And I'm going to break
That's the other thing. See, now that I'm watching this, I'm realizing, and I'm talking and he's talking, and you know, most of the time you let your guard down, you think, okay, well, this is a real person because they seem to have some level of intuition, they seem to have some level of personality, they seem to have some level of independent thought. All of that can be faked. All of that can be faked. You need a brain scan, and you can make AI based around that brain scan and all of its memories and all that thing. That's what most NPCs are. They show that in the movie Bliss. They've got all these, I think it's like the 16 personalities, if anyone knows about the MTBI bullshit. Oh, it's not bullshit, I actually like it a lot. But that thing, they've got 16 brains in a jar, right, connected to the simulation. Those 16 brains will be the 16 personalities of all the NPCs. So there's a lot to draw on from all those brains. It can be very, very realistic. That's why, you know, it's hard to tell if someone is or isn't real. But what I'm pointing out here, what I'm noticing about this guy is just listen to how I talk and all the mistakes I make. And I'm talking while thinking. And I don't think that this guy reads from a script. There's a lot of very, very intelligent people, far smarter than me, way smarter than me, who can talk without a script and still come off as if they're talking with a script. And that fucking shit is suspicious to me. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm hearing here. This guy's not working on a script.
2 or 3 of those down and then end up discussing how that impacts this dislike situation. One of the first problems that YouTube had was they had a stunning decision to hide subscribers' real-time numbers, and there was a campaign of disinformation to explain why it helped. Let me break this down for you. YouTube tried to
I don't even remember hearing all this stuff when I watched the video just now.
Some large group of YouTube creators, of which 0 have ever come.
That's the other thing. It's like school, isn't it? You sit through school and you just... Can you remember any of the shit that you heard at school? There was so much shit you heard at school, day to day, 6 hours of it, every single, well, you know, 5 days a week. Nothing but bullshit, you know, just to fill your brain with useless information so there's no room for anything else, right? That's what this shit's like. I'm sure you could watch my video and actually recall and respond to a few things. This guy's saying all this stuff and it's not untrue, but it's not interesting. And I'm not saying, wow, I'm interesting, but I'm saying, hey, I'm giving you something. Like the example I said before, he goes, well, look up this thing, and then he just keeps talking about other shit. It's like, don't fucking tell me that, asshole. I'm sick of these people who don't fucking educate.
And said they were part of this, had stated that seeing real-time subscriber numbers on their page was so depressing, so haunting.
I suppose that would be a tell of a real person. They really, really, really want to educate you. They want you to walk away, maybe not smarter, but just thinking, you know what I mean? And this guy's not really thinking, he's just telling.
That it wrecked their lives.
Yes, he's telling the truth, but so? That should be the default.
This huge group, the secret cabal of YouTube creators, or Illuminati of artists.
Fuck, this is actually interesting. This is the interesting part.
Illuminati of artists.
Sorry.
Somehow
this thing that he brings up is actually pretty funny and true, so I'll give him that. Good job, Matrix, on putting this one together.
Lives. This huge group, the secret cabal of YouTube creators, or Illuminati of artists, had somehow banded together with a message so clear and defined they stopped YouTube in its tracks, and YouTube made the change. Ah, shucks, you know, good guy YouTube. If you believe that, continue on with this bit of logic. To round this out, supposedly, this massive group was so effectively delivering their message to YouTube about their own gaining of watchers, bringing desolation to their lives if it was happening in real time, that YouTube changed that program, and the magical fix was to click elsewhere on a creator page. That's right, you can still see them. Basically, YouTube saved the world from a massive Aztec-style suicide by pointing and yelling, hey, look over there, and then just running off. One additional click.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I mean, let's also just focus, well, maybe not focus, but let's observe the fact that all this horrible fucking video game violence, which is just very much the norm and absolutely poison for children who, I mean, this is normal for children to play. If I had kids, I wouldn't let them fucking play this shit unless I sat with them and explained to them all of it and then talked to them about it and all that stuff. But for the most part, this is normal as hell. The majority of parents let their kids play stuff like this. This is like 10 times beyond the violence and like the impactful violence that I ever experienced as a kid. You know what I mean? And I'm still pretty freaking desensitized. Can you imagine growing up looking at this shit? Can you imagine a content creator trying to be intellectual and correct while also showing his audience this horrible violence? It's worse than the actual news, you know, on television. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so what he said was actually pretty funny and true about um, the supposed story timeline of all these people got together, you know, they were so well organized, saying, oh, you know, YouTube, these dislikes, I hurt my feelings, I want to commit suicide because I got dislikes and all this stuff. So YouTube's the good guy, as he said. It's like, okay, all right, well, we'll take care of that, no worries. It's like, yeah, okay, that's the cover story. That's true, that's funny.
Fix everything. And you're probably thinking to yourself, what does this mean? And why does Tarek think it's a bad thing? This change was done because YouTube had learned recently that subscriber wars, some of the largest YouTube channels in the world were doing this, were causing both channels to do well.
So what he's talking about here, he doesn't explain it very well. He doesn't explain it at all. Like a lot of things he says, it's just like, you know what I mean? I said it, it's true, that kind of shit. Whereas you should maybe, you know, go into a little detail so people have a little perspective and can make their own mind up about what you're saying. So for those who don't know, likes and dislikes both count as an engagement. Engagement is what bumps your video up in the algorithm and the search. So a video with like 1,000 likes would get the same amount of recommendations as a video with 1,000 dislikes. It all means engagement. It all means it was controversial and interesting to people, and all of that was promoted by the channel. So videos that were doing these subscriber wars where people are like, oh, fuck you, PewDiePie, I'm team, I don't know, other channel, you know, and so they're disliking PewDiePie. That benefits PewDiePie, that benefits the person he's, you know, beefing with, like the rappers do, that kind of shit. You know, it benefits both people. There's no such thing as bad publicity, that kind of thing.
Guess what? Smaller channels, medium-sized channels, little channels that were out there with just a couple subscribers had learned the same thing. That
so people were trying to, you know, get their start by doing this stuff, causing beef with other channels, you know, some small channel causing beef with another channel to get attention, dislike. It all worked that way. It's like energy vampirism. They don't care about, you know, how they look. They just care about attention.
No such thing as bad publicity.
Did I say that already?
People to subscribe. Guess what that does? That requires YouTube to pay monetization out to smaller subscribers more quickly than they would at any other rate. And why do we know that? Well,
so again, it's like the government thing with the current whatever's going on, you know what I mean? They want to be the only ones in control, in charge. They're psychopaths, narcissists, control freaks, and they don't want the little guy challenging them. They don't want any competition aside from the fake competition that they already have in place. I've talked about this before, blue versus red, you know, Pepsi versus Coke, all that stuff, Nintendo and Sega, this goes on. All those companies are actually, you know, friends with each other, and the way that they stay on top is that they agree that they will be, you know, this is my competitor, and we'll pretend at price wars and all this sort of stuff, just so that there's the illusion of choice, and people will be like, well, I'm with Sony rather than Microsoft. You know, F Microsoft, you're still buying one of the things. It's like the government, you know what I mean? The two-party policy, it's one-party policy. They just pretend to be against each other, illusion of choice, whatever. I didn't explain that very well. Like I said, I'm not. My mouth isn't as intelligent as my brain is, unfortunately.
And right around the same area was YouTube increasing the demands to get smaller channels monetized and its proximity to hiding that public subscriber count.
So
if YouTube had any measure of care at all, smallest iota, shred, single atom of care about creators, it would not have raised monetization limits higher. There's no argument for that. It's statistics, numbers. That's the way it works. None. That's simple.
Oh, I should also say I would be eligible for monetization on my channel. I have been for a while. I don't give a shit about that. I don't need money, and I don't believe in people having to pay for the truth. You know, that's complete and utter bullshit. That's how you know that university, college, and all that stuff, education is bullshit, because they make you pay for information. You know, that's a scam. That's you're not doing that. You're probably paying for the exact opposite. In fact, I know you are.
Can't argue against it ever. No one
so this video is very.
We know for a fact. No one can argue that. If you hear somebody arguing it, they are being paid directly by YouTube to lie to you. Well,
of course. So I'll just go through the comments. Like I said, obviously this is to benefit news media outlets. I said this also benefits the image of news media outlets who are given majority dislikes for their reporting on a certain pandemic, especially here in Australia. I got 4 likes on that so far. I mean, oh wow, 5, and look, this one has 2. And I got a reply. Is this better? Get Dave said, so true. Sorry for what you were dealing with there. Sorry. Stay strong. Like I've said before, I'm not really dealing with that stuff in the state I'm living in. There are going to be new laws coming in on December 17th, which means that basically I can't go anywhere other than essential places from here until the end of time. It doesn't really bother me. I just see it as a video game, a challenge. They've just upped the difficulty because I'm up to it. I laugh in the face of this kind of stuff. It's flattering, in fact, that they think that they're going to coerce people like me into going ahead with the you-know-what. Just because they're like, well, you won't be able to go to concerts or any of that shit that you already avoid like the plague. It's like, why would I want to go to concerts so I could be blood sacrificed by Travis Scott? Fuck off. All music today is shit anyway, unless it's by Truth Dog. Wolf, check them out. So anyway, yeah, so there's that. And anyway, better get Dave Hard in the right place. Whoa, someone else replied. All corporate media, dude. There are only single YouTubers getting more views on a 10-minute video than CNN. So, I don't know, check out this video if you want to read it. And other people saying, you know, as soon as YouTube realizes that they're losing money from this, they'll revert the policy back. And so I don't think that's true, because I feel like they're being given a kickback to put the policy in place of the dislike thing. But anyway, I'm going on. I did watch this PewDiePie video a little bit. He's all right. I've given PewDiePie shit in the past. He's actually all right. INTP crew represent. This is funny too. It's just while they're still here, the dislike ratio on this official YouTube removing the dislike thing. Look at this. I feel sorry for them. There you go, guys. I mean, it's an engagement either way. It doesn't matter. Poor YouTube. But just let's have a look at this fellow who's definitely not a psychopath.
Hey folks, you may have seen a while back that YouTube announced it was experimenting with making dislike counts private to only the creator of the video.
I just want to point out, anyone who is this composed and stiff and self-assured while also giving across like no warmth or any kind of like distinctive personality is contrary to what I just said. They're definitely a fucking psychopath. Sorry to say, dude, but you're a fucking psycho.
Now, if you're like me, you were surprised by that. I mean, I've always thought seeing or dislikes on a video helps us know as viewers if it's a good video or
just
not,
put the pyramid up.
if it's a helpful tutorial or not.
Yeah, but now you can't. So anyway, it's... God, I wish you could see his face. But anyway, that's enough. Shout out, whatever, sound enough in the comments below what you think of YouTube's new policies. Remember to smack a like. There's no dislike to smack, thank God. And God bless you all, and I hope you have a great day. Truth Dog out. Woof woof.